So, since we're talking about beer, we might as well try some beer. So the first one we're actually going to try here is an American-style pale ale by a British brewery down in London, one called Beavertown. And so I guess most of you would have been out to the pub fairly recently, and the first thing you kind of notice is that there's craft beer everywhere, and that's craft beer made locally, coming from the States, coming from the continent. There's really been kind of an explosion in craft beer, and the revolution itself and this kind of sphere in beer has really come from the States. It's come from around about the 1980s, and you had a turnabout of homebrewers basically starting up and starting their own breweries, essentially to get beer they couldn't get. So the imports coming in from overseas were a particularly international style of lager, vis-a-vis your kind of Heinekens, your Carlsbergs. So they wanted these more flavoursome beers, and if the importers weren't going to bring them to them, they were going to brew them themselves. So you've got these guys starting up as homebrewers and going on to create their own breweries, and that's kind of snowballed into a large industry over there with over 5,000 breweries. And so that kind of infectious attitude that Americans have is in creating something quite bold and flavoursome has really kind of rolled over to the UK. A lot of people have travelled over to the US themselves and have tried these really strong, hoppy, hop-forward beers and have kind of brought that back here, because that was, in essence, something you couldn't get back in the UK. So you've now got, over the last kind of 15 years, this evolution of guys starting up in a very similar manner. Homebrewers starting their own brewery, publicans starting their breweries underneath the pub and becoming quite large ventures, which is exactly what Beavertown were. The old Duke's Brew and Q in a corner just north of Hoxton. Quickly outgrew the pub cellar, went to a estate in East London, got bigger and bigger again, and now they're one of the largest craft breweries in the country. So there's that real thirst, I guess, for flavour, for wanting something different, but also on the other side, people want to know and meet the people that make it. That's the nice thing when you go to a craft brewery. You can kind of go and meet the brewer, you can see how it's made, you can see their ingredients, they tell you where it's from, so it's really kind of that thirst for knowledge as to where those things are. The other aspect of it is with this full range of flavours is traditionally when you come to the pub or restaurants, most of your food's paired with wine. So immediately if someone says, so you're just suggesting a beer, they can kind of think of that international lager kind of sense. So they only have this particular predisposition in their head what a beer should taste like. Today we're going to go through a completely wide variety of beers, so hopefully I'll blow a few of your minds in terms of what beer can taste like and what it shouldn't be, but also put it forward as a really good partner for food. So I think that's something we really kind of want to work into, is beer and food is certainly a thing, and the spectrum of flavours there far outdoes wine, as hopefully we'll do today.